Marylanders set to pick a new governor. Election day in our state is 3 weeks from tomorrow, and the lead in the polls is closing for the Democratic candidate Anthony Brown against his Republican contender Larry Hogan. Here to help us put the race in focus tonight is Dr. John Bullock from the Political Science Department of Towson University. We've heard about these polls, the latest one, the Baltimore Sun, giving the lieutenant governor a 7-point lead. What do you make of this? Do you believe the race is, in fact, tightening?
Well, the race is tightening. Even if you looked at the week previously when Washington Post had it at 9 points, and then give and take the 4-point margin of error, it could be even closer.
Do you think that Larry Hogan really has a chance in a state with such an overwhelming majority of Democratic voters statewide?
You know, I still think it's Brown's race to lose. I think he's still in the lead. At the same time, I think he's picking up ground, and some of that is that talk about taxes, and it's resonating with some voters.
The way potentially that Brown could lose this race is if his voters stay home and don't turn out. Would you agree with that?
That is very true. And so if you look at the Brown campaign, they're doing a lot to activate their base. At the same time, we know that voters who were enticed with the appeal about taxes, those voters will come out and are energized to come out. So Brown really has to get his base to come out because those tax-centric voters are going to come out.
It seems like people are most concerned with that issue, the pocketbook issues, you know, their own personal income. It hasn't risen as quickly maybe as other states in the country, but there's another element to this race that's interesting, and that is that Anthony Brown was the point man for the health care rollout in Maryland, which was by all accounts a disaster. Has Hogan been able to take advantage of that at all?
Look, I know it came up in the primary. I know that in the debate today that Hogan referenced that, and I think there was a little bit of a disconnect in the last debate that didn't come up. But I assume that's going to be something that Hogan's going to try to hit with. It didn't really work for the Democratic candidates, but we'll see what happens for Hogan. And
the lieutenant governor is going to have his traditional bases of support, a lot of unions, and a lot of other, traditional Democratic voters that he's going to be able to pick up. That is a built-in disadvantage for Larry Hogan.
Right.
How does he overcome that, or how could he potentially overcome that with just a few weeks left in the race?
It's really going to be a challenge for Hogan to overcome that. At the same time, you have Brown, who's making a lot of inroads if he's talking about social policy issues around education and around women's health and also the environment. At the same time, you have somebody like Hogan, who really has been focused on the economy, and I think that's really going to be a thing that's going to get him the most bang for his buck, sticking with that message.
And that's what we should be looking for the next 3 weeks, I suppose, right? All right, Dr. John Bullock from Towson University, we really appreciate you coming in and talking about the race. I doubt it will be the last time before Election Day, so thanks very much. Well, a lack of voter interest is sure to be a big factor at the polls this Election Day in Maryland and around the country. The Pew Research Center surveyed Americans to see where the election stands when it comes to news they care about. You can check out the results online on our website, abc2news.com/decodedc.